Hello guys. The more exciting video is here. It's Erica with Not Your Average EDC. My cheeks are really flushed and like red right now because of this. What we are drinking tonight is the Stone Fruit Bomb from Spyglass, and it's a fruited sour that is heavily fruited with peaches, plums, cherries, apricots, and vanilla. It's seriously so good, but it's like making me red and silly. Let's do a review on the Benchmade 940. Now, if you haven't been following the channel, this is actually the second review I'm doing of this knife. So the first time I reviewed this knife, it was for 30 days and I ran the stock edge, basically, the entire time. But then I was told that this may or may not do better. Guys, every single day. Zaya, come on, get out. Zaya. She's very sad. She doesn't want to leave. Okay, while we're on like a break here, I got new overalls, so that's really exciting. But what's more exciting is, okay, that's not gonna work. I got Jigglypuff for my croc. So there's Jigglypuff. He has a microphone, so that's really exciting. That's my best friend. Okay, let's try this again. I already tested the 940. I ran the stock edge on it basically the whole time. But at the end of the testing, somebody said that maybe it would work better with a 15 DPS edge, so 15 degrees per side on the edge. Maybe it would work better because my review, I basically stated that this knife is great, but the edge is just like kind of garbage. Like you just can't cut through a lot of stuff because it's so thick, and then the edge is just kind of crummy. It's just kind of crummy as it comes. So I figured I would revisit the 940 and try 4 different edges. I asked you guys what types of edges I should try on this. Like it'll be 15 DPS no matter what, but give me different edge options to try. And you guys all gave great ideas, but the ones that I settled with were a coarse edge, a fine edge, a convex edge, and then what I'm calling like a mirror polish, extremely fine edge. So week 1, we did the coarse edge. So that basically was a I think a 320 grit DMT stone, so the blue DMT stone, creating an edge and then basically just knocking off the burr with a strop a few times, and that's it. So extremely toothy. Like I said, still 15 degrees per side, but just like a brutally toothy edge. And that did fantastic. This thing was a shredder during that. It was incredible. The scratch pattern was pretty large. The tooth was insane. It was like an alligator. And I ran that for about a week. Didn't really have any complaints. It went through all of the material very well. Surprisingly, it was just like a totally different knife. Like it felt slicier than it actually is. That tooth just made this thing shine. So then we went to a fine edge, which I did where's my notebook? I wrote this all down for science. Did I write it all down for science? I think I have the wrong fucking notebook. Oh my god. Why am I like this? Okay. Science. Like I literally promise you guys I wrote it down, and I'm struggling. Oh my god. The second one was a freaking fine edge. Okay, here we go. Week 2. Fine DMT stone. Then the extra fine DMT stone, and then gunny juice at 5 microns. That was the second edge. So it had like a little bit of a polish to it, but not fully polished, and it was a fine edge, but not like the finest you'll ever see. However, it did very well. So the fine edge, I don't recall it having any issues at all grasping material to pull through it, because that's one of the things that I have a hard time with like non-toothy edges is I just tend to not have enough like grab. The blade does not have any grab to get through certain types of material like the rope or the nylon tie-ups. Ooh, that tie-ups. Not those types of tie-ups. We have like ties at work that we have to cut through, and they're like a nylon type of material, kind of plastic, and you usually need a little more bite to get through them. However, that edge didn't have an issue at all. It went through produce great. Everything was fantastic. Like the fine edge was really good. And then we did the convex edge. That was super interesting. So I've made videos on all of these edges, by the way. This is kind of just a recap and a review. The convex edge ended up putting the degrees per side a little more steep than it was, like because it convex kind of like rounds behind the edge, so this wasn't exactly fitting into 30 degrees inclusive on my measuring tool. It kind of wanted to go into 35 instead, but it was loose in there, so it was like, you know, kind of like a 16.5 type of deal on each side. Very strong though, so it didn't go through material like cardboard as easily, but the strength behind that edge was pretty admirable. We did some prying and some scraping at that point with that edge. Not a single chip, roll, nick, nothing. It didn't lose its bite. It was really impressive. It just had a hard time moving through material with that rounded bit behind the actual apex. And then the last edge that we did, I'm just calling like a super fine mirror polish, very keen edge. So that was a series of progression from coarse DMT to fine DMT to extra fine DMT to ceramic, and then the strop, my 4-sided strop that has black compound, green compound, blue compound, and raw leather. So I did that entire progression, got a very shiny, very crisp mirror polish edge, which I recorded and put on YouTube. It's like a video of me kind of like running the knife over a reflective surface, and you can see like the letters on the bottle reflecting in the edge. So it's like very, very polished and very like thin and crispy. And that I only ran for a few days because it's already March and now we have to move into our new testing. But that edge was really impressive. So today I purposely was using my 940 as much as I could just to get those final thoughts in for the day, even though I'm carrying my bug out as well. I was purposely for everything using the 940 so that I could really get a feel for that super fine mirror polished edge. And it was just like a laser beam going through all the material, all the produce, all of the cardboard, all of the tape. It was really impressive. So if I had to rank all of the edges from best to, I shouldn't say best, from my personal favorite to my personal least favorite of what I tested, I would have to say that the coarse edge was my favorite by far. It was really, really nice to use. And then the super fine polished edge, and then the regular fine edge, and then the convex. Now, if I were in construction like I was over the summer, I think that convex would have been higher up on the scale toward my favorite a little more, just because the strength really was impressive. But I just don't need that all the time at the job that I'm at right now. It's useful, it's helpful, I appreciated it, but do I want to run something like that all the time? No. And if this were my primary blade 24/7, I was only carrying one knife, I wouldn't want this to have a convex edge all the time because it just didn't suit me for everything that I encountered. It was just really good for very specific things. So all in all, I think the biggest thing to take away from this, guys, is number one, learn how to sharpen your knives, because you can test so many different edges when you know what you're doing and how to work different edges into your knife. I cannot express how important it is to be able to sharpen your own tools so that you actually use them. But also, the 940 is much more capable than we think it is. And there are a lot of rumors circulating around that this knife is just not that great for EDC because it's not slicey enough. However, this was doing some pretty darn slicey tasks for almost 30 days straight. I didn't have a single issue, and all I had to do was lay the edge back to 15 degrees per side. That's it. Like, that's the key to success with this knife, is laying the edge back. The factory edge is garbage. They, for some reason, treat this knife like the Osborne, the 940 Osborne Benchmade, I feel treats this steel softer than their other S30V. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you, but I can tell from sharpening this so many times and working with it for so long that this is softer than their other S30V. And it's not the geometry, it's not anything. Like, I can feel on the stone that this is softer than other S30V that I've used from Benchmade. So I think laying that edge back, giving it 15 degrees per side, making it more toothy and getting through that burnt steel and just kind of like giving it a facelift, really, it makes the 940 the ultimate EDC knife. Like, this is one of my favorite EDC knives by far. I could carry this the rest of my life and be happy, as long as it had 15 degrees per side and I was able to monkey around with different edges. And the coarse DMT stone just really gave it that bite where it just was like a shredder through everything. And I will say, with all of the edges that I experimented with, I did a lot of like push cuts and a lot of kind of like chop. Zadie, stop. A lot of chopping on like counters and cutting boards and even metal tables, like just kind of drilling that edge into the surface, and not once did I ever get a chip or a roll or anything, even on the metal table. Not a single thing went wrong with that edge, even with it being that thin. So just something to think about, guys. The 940 has a really bad rap for some reason with a lot of people, and all you have to do is change the edge angle for it to be superior. And I really do think that maybe somewhere along the line, Warren's vision of this being the ultimate work knife, it just got misconstrued because Benchmade sharpens it at too steep of an angle. Like, that's the only thing wrong with this, is that it just has the angle that it's ground at is wrong. It is not correct. It needs to be 15 degrees per side. Benchmade won't do that. They do like only 17 to 20. But if they were to do the correct thing, this knife would be the ultimate EDC, slicey, fantastic. And I think that's it. So I'm losing light in my room. I need to go turn my light on before I do the bug out review. I love you guys. Ooh. Use your shit. Buy a 940. And I will see you on the next video.